Lebanon. You called this an attack. Are you confident that this was an attack and not an accident?
Well, it would seem like it based on the explosion. I've met with some of our great generals, and they just seemed to feel that it was. This was not some kind of a manufacturing explosion type of event. This was seems to be, according to them, they would know better than I would, but they seem to think it was a attack. It was a bomb of some kind, yes.
Interesting.
On this episode of Just Informed Talk, we are going to take a look at the latest breaking news, and we're going to ask some very tough questions, including what does a major explosion in Beirut, a FBI raid on several offices of a Ukrainian national, and Joe Biden and his son have in common? We're going to dive deep into that today, so you guys are going to want to stick around to hear that, plus a bunch of other breaking news stories that the fake news won't tell you about. So stick around and check it out. Hi, and welcome to another episode of Just Informed Talk. I'm your host, Craig. You guys know the drill. I always say thanks if you've hit that subscribe button. If you guys haven't done it, please. It's really simple. Just come here, click the big red subscribe button, then hit that bell. It's like to also get notified as soon as all of these videos get posted, and I'm inviting all of you to stick around. At the end of this episode, we're going to do a segment called God's Grace is Greater. Today, we're going to look at some scripture that's really powerful here, and it's from the book of Ephesians, and it's a prayer for spiritual insight. And I want to share that prayer with all of you out there at the end of this episode. It is very important if you guys want to get that inspiration, that power through Christ and the gospel. So I encourage you to stick around for that at the end. But as always, we go over and check the cue board. Nothing new. 4620 is where we left off. But we have major news. Big booms out there. A massive explosion in Beirut, Lebanon, where we have an entire port that looks like it's been nearly completely flattened with an explosion, the likes of which I haven't seen since I saw, I guess, that video of the Moab being set off in Afghanistan. So I got to tell you guys, we're going to get in all that, plus how that connects to Privat Bank, a Ukrainian oligarch who's connected to Hunter Biden, who had his offices raided today, or how it might connect, let's just say. So we're going to look at all of that, plus a whole lot more. But before we do that, quick reminder, this video is brought to you in part by Brave Browser. If you guys haven't tried it out yet, I don't know what you're waiting for. It's a great product. It's an internet browser like Chrome, Firefox, Safari, whatever you're using, but it's better. It's free. When you use the link in the description to download it from this channel through my link, they'll make a contribution to this channel. So it's a way to support the work we're doing here, and you get a great product, an internet browser that blocks the ads. It's got a firewall, VPN, built-in Tor browser, and it's just a great product all around, better than your average internet browser. So check it out. You can get it on your laptop, desktop, or your smartphone, and download it for free using the link in the description below this video. So we're going to start with where we left off yesterday. I asked you guys to go put us over the top here on this petition to have President Trump issue an executive order to make mandatory mask wearing unlawful, which I think this law is great. Even if it's just an executive order, it's going to help us out, and it's going to help protect our freedom and our health and fight against this tyranny of the left where they've become actual tyrants. Well, when I put the show up, I think we needed over 1,400 signatures. You guys blew right by that, and I think with others, hopefully, out there signing it, it got past that mark it needed to. So now it's got 100,000 signatures, and it will be going to the desk of the President of the United States. So you guys give yourselves a pat on the back, and we'll have to wait and see what they come out with as far as guidance from this. But it's important that we continue to get this stuff to the president, show him we don't want to live in a nightmarish dystopia where you have Orwellian thought policing and you have these leftist tyrants who want to mandate that you lock yourself in a dark room with a mask forever, as if you've done something wrong, as if it's my fault that there's a virus in the world, that there is viruses that exist in the world, that I should be punished. We should be punished. We should be put under house arrest and forced to wear these masks, which, scientifically, I don't see any evidence that proves they're really helping. And in a lot of cases, they're hurting. And I understand, as I said yesterday, in some cases they may work for certain situations. I get it. But you can't make this mandate just across where we have people standing in a field with nobody around him for 100 yards, and they have a mask on, as if the boogeyman virus is going to just fly in from the skies and give you COVID. So, and also, they did test a fruit and it came back positive for coronavirus. So, you do with that as you will. Today, the big story, though, is this. We have a major, major explosion here. If you guys see this thing, it created a huge mushroom cloud. Now, from what I'm hearing, it doesn't seem, and it doesn't look yet to be anything nuclear, but you never know. It has, the capability of being that. We just haven't been there, haven't had enough information put out yet to know what it really is. It seems to have taken place at a fireworks factory, which there have been multiple reports saying that this fireworks factory that's right there in this port area near the port there in Beirut was basically went up in this massive explosion that some people now, the President of the United States even, has said it was a weapon that did this. It was not a manufacturing accident. This was actually a weapon and an attack. So what were they attacking? Why were they attacking? That's really the first thing Anon started doing. I've been on this all day. Anons have been digging. They've been going. I've been looking at all the information that's coming out and trying to put it all together to make sense of this. And I just first like to say thoughts and prayers, obviously, with all those innocent men, women, and children who either lost their lives today or have had injuries that are going to change their lives forever. We need to pray for this violence to end, and we need to stand strong in our faith in Jesus, and that, there are Christians everywhere, there are good people everywhere, and we have to stand up for them too. So that's just the first and foremost thing. But with that, being said, you can see the damage here that was caused by this massive explosion, and it looks like, a nuclear bomb went off. And when you say nuclear, you go, well, no, everything would be flattened if it was nuclear. Well, they actually have these things. They're like tactical nuclear bombs, which have a much lower payload, but can be used in very specific targeted strikes. And that could be what we're dealing with. It could be something like a Moab. We don't know yet, or it could be something else. It's entirely in the realm of possibility that anything could have happened here at this point. So, other than what we know now from the President of the United States saying his top military generals and advisors have told him that it's very likely this was an attack, meaning this was a bomb of some sort. So, we're just getting the facts, trying to get the facts out right now and trying to cover what happened here. So this is pretty devastating, and it just happens to come on the same day where 6 people are killed after a Chinese chemical factory near Wuhan exploded. So think about this. There were 2 factories, one's a chemical factory, one's a fireworks factory, that have been, and we're not talking yet about the factory here in China, but as far as the one in Beirut, I've been hearing a lot of chatter on the boards and across the whole spectrum of Anons that it was some sort of Iranian-backed munitions facility where they were developing rockets for Hezbollah or something in that realm. So if you can only imagine that there's a lot of people who would want to destroy that kind of facility, then perhaps that'll give you a better idea of why that facility is no longer standing and why there's so much destruction in what has happened here. Now, what is very fascinating, though, to point to is that here on the same day, we always talk about distractions, and Q talks about expending ammunition and how, when major stores are breaking in the United States, there's always this tendency to have some even bigger story break out that's a complete distraction from, some specific story that's covering something major. And that may be the case here. But I'm speculating right now, so please, bear with me as we go through this. The FBI just raided the Cleveland office building connected to a Ukrainian oligarch, Igor Kolomoisky, who is the principal of Privat Group. Okay, guys, so we got to do some, research going back here. What is Privat Group? Privat Group is the main stakeholder in a company called Burisma Holdings, which is the company that Hunter Biden was being paid massive amounts of money through for his supposed consulting job that has come under high duress from U.S. investigators and Ukrainian investigators who are alleging that Joe Biden, and on behalf of his son, sought to have a Ukrainian prosecutor fired and removed from his position for investigating the possibly corrupt deals being made between Hunter Biden and this Burisma holding group, right? So as this was happening this morning, you have this major explosion in Beirut, and it sucked the oxygen out of the room. Every headline you can see here, every headline on the what's happening, which is the curated trending section on Twitter that's run by a bunch of SJW virtue signaling morons who hate this country and hate our president. Yeah, they have not all day long. This is all social media has been, is the pictures of the damage, videos of the bomb going off, blah, blah, blah. It's been huge, right? It sucked the oxygen out of this whole story here, which connects directly back to Joe Biden. So that's really where it becomes, you're in the realm of speculation there to say, are these two events connected? But if you have learned through Q over time, as I have, like I said, they have ammunition and they'll expend it in order to draw the narrative away. And what better way to draw the narrative away than an actual giant explosion, right? As sad as and as insidiously evil as that is, that seems to be their MO. We read more about the raiding of the offices. Now, apparently there was a set of offices in Cleveland and one in Miami. Those are the two raids that they have so far. FBI agents, and I'll read this story because it's got some of the details that matter to the story. FBI agents raided a downtown Cleveland high-rise office building that has been linked to Ukrainian oligarchs in a 2019 lawsuit alleging money laundering. A bureau spokeswoman confirmed agents were present at 1 Cleveland Center, East 9th Street, Tuesday morning. The building belongs to Optima Management Group, a real estate company that also owns 55 Public Square and is an investor in Westin Cleveland Hotel. Agents also raided a building in Miami on Tuesday, according to FBI Cleveland spokeswoman Vicki Anderson. No one was taken into custody during either raid, she said. In a May 2019 lawsuit filed in Delaware, Ukrainian commercial lender PrivatBank alleged oligarchs Igor Kolomoisky and Gennady Bogolyubov, sorry if I'm butchering those names, laundered hundreds of millions of dollars from the bank through Optima properties in Cleveland and real estate around the country. Think about that. We've talked about what PrivatBank was facilitating with Burisma and Hunter Biden. These lawsuits are alleging that they were funneling money into the United States. Now, why would they be funneling money into the United States? Perhaps to buy off politicians, perhaps to bribe and corrupt certain political figures, corporate figures. I don't know. Just asking the question. It also says here, according to the lawsuit, the oligarchs used a complicated set of financial transactions to drain the bank of money, funneling the U.S. dollars into U.S. real estate holdings, including 1 Cleveland Center, 55 Public Square, and Huntington building, and the Crown Plaza, which became the Westin. Kolomoisky and Bogolyubov were controlling stockholders of the bank from 2006 to 2016, according to the lawsuit. In 2016, the National Bank of Ukraine declared PrivatBank insolvent, and the Ukrainian government nationalized it to protect depositors last year. An Optima official denied the lawsuit's allegations in a statement, saying, quote, "The allegations in this lawsuit are part of an orchestrated plot or political attack by a Ukrainian bank against investors in our thriving businesses, are false, defamatory, and utterly without merit." It says, "We intend not only to contest, but to disprove these reckless allegations and to demonstrate that they are part of a smear campaign driven by a Ukrainian political agenda that we have nothing to do with." So think about that. They're alleging this is all political, whereas we are seeing the stories come together and merge to understand that PrivatBank and Burisma and the oligarchs that are involved here all connect back to Biden and the Hussein administration and their infiltration of our country, them selling us out to the highest bidders. I mean, it seems like this may have been this bank may have been acting as a brokering house for buying and selling U.S. politicians, and the FBI is finally starting to peel back the layers and get the information they need, which of course takes time, and you have to develop complex investigations to get to the point where you're doing search warrants and raiding offices. So there must be more going on, as President Trump said today on Lou Dobbs, talking about the revelations that are coming from the Durham report and how it was all criminal. So This may all be linked to a massive organized crime syndicate that was working with top politicians in our country and corporate liaisons from other countries. This is going to be a major story. I just thought we should cover it. Now, the next one here, New York Times quietly scrubbing Chinese propaganda. So for years, the New York Times have been selling spots in their newspaper to Chinese propagandists who sow division in our country. Now they're trying to scrub it all away. Why are they trying to scrub it all away? Well, because we have this problem in our country today where fake news journalists from the Washington Post, CNN, MSNBC, CBS, the New York Times, all of them, they're engaged in a pro-communist agenda where they, don't care about rate, or they don't care about facts and truth and what the news is meant to function as. They care about ratings. They care about views. They care about money. So whenever they get a chance to take money for whatever reason, they'll do it. And in this case, they were taking money from Chinese communist propagandists to put propaganda into U.S. newspapers. So imagine a world where somehow the world's been flipped on its head, where all these fake news liars are not only liars and the most distrustful people you could imagine. They're actively engaged in aiding and abetting the Communist Party of Chinese and sowing the seeds of division and propaganda inside of our country. I mean, I hate to say it, but we should be arresting some of these people for these crimes. I mean, and they'll say, so it's free market, freedom of speech, and I'll just say, you are aiding and abetting a known adversary of the United States government, and we need to have a talk. It may not be an arrest. It may be some sort of other action, depending on the level of cooperation and how much they did with an intent to harm our nation. But ultimately, these people are engaged in the most vile and reckless kind of fake news deception that you could ever imagine. And they do it, with complete impunity, as if they'll never face consequences for their actions. So, and then they actively cover up the evidence of their crimes. So I don't know what to tell you, but if the Chinese government called me and said, "Hey, we want to run a segment in your show about how great China is, and we'll give you $1 million," I would say no, because that's the right thing to do. But unfortunately, a lot of times people don't do the right thing, and that's sad, but it's true. Again, I thought this meme was so important when I saw it that I figured I'd share it here on the show. This sums up everything, right? Gathering to read Bibles, not permitted. But gathering to burn them and the American flag, oh, that's totally okay if you live in Portland or any other Democrat-run city. But, this is what the brown shirts did. This is what Mao's Red Guard did. This is not some new phenomenon that we've never seen in history. Go back through history and you'll see time after time after time, fascists, communists, they all take over the same way, right? They destroy the history. They burn the books. They pull down the statues. They get rid of all the landlords. They go after all the wealthy landowners. They go and target. It's a targeted movement with the intent of replacing our constitutional republic that's based on a capitalist system of free market economics with a command control system that's a communist authoritarian dictatorship. Because these people, what they don't understand is hard work is what is the difference maker between them being successful and not being successful. Even though life's unfair and we all have to deal with certain circumstances, what I think a lot of these people, if they took half the effort they do in organizing to, attack federal courthouses or organizing to intimidate people for their free speech, if they took half the time they spent doing that or all the time they spent doing that and put it into working hard, going out, helping their community, volunteering at the food bank, praying if they so choose. If not, just go out and pick up trash or go out and put together community projects to help in make your community better and help your society at large. It's just they don't want to do that because it's way more easier. It's way easier to destroy things than to build things. And these people are destroyers and they're not builders. So we have to be the people who build with our faith in Christ, build back our communities, build back the level of discourse where it's not this kind of violent mob mentality. So I just thought I'd share that since it was interesting. ABC spikes the leaked video of the Floyd arrest. CBS, NBC edit out "Stop Resisting" portion. So apparently this whole Floyd video got released in its entirety. And it basically shows, the guy was having heart problems. He was fighting back. They told him not to resist. And he kept saying he was having chest problems. So look, it doesn't look good for him. Let's put it that way. So all I'm saying is this. When you look at the facts and you see the entire video and you understand the context of what was happening there, it just looks like a different story than what's been reported on a lot of these fake news outlets. And a lot of people over on some of the different commenting boards like Reddit, when this video got released, these were like the hardcore protesters saying, man, I feel betrayed because had I seen this full video previously, I may have not made the same assumption that I did previously about, what happened here. And that's the part about showing things out of context and all of that makes it so difficult. Another story over here, President Trump in his HBO Axios interview, which you all should watch if you haven't yet. And it's already posted over on YouTube, I think, so you can go watch it over there. But he talks about a lot of different things. And he makes a lot of telling statements. One of the most telling of all, though, he says that he's pretty sure that Epstein may have been murdered. And again, wishes Ghislaine Maxwell well, as they kind of come at him like, well, why would you say such a nice thing about Ghislaine Maxwell? I've explained this on the show before. I've shown the court documents where Ghislaine Maxwell's lawyers were petitioning for a mistrial based on any public officials who make comment on her, for her or against her, really. So President Trump's doing the right thing. It's a trial, and he's not trying to give her a way out to say, oh, well, I can't have a fair trial because the President of the United States is talking about me. So you understand how that works, but these people don't because they're fake news liars. And it seemed like this interview was very adversarial, which is obvious because these people are really just the slimiest people in the world, the fake news liars. And, when they sit there and they ask a question, you can tell that each question is like kind of framed in a gotcha way where they want to ask President Trump something and get him to say something so they can be like, oh, I gotcha. And every time they miss, which is every time, they don't get the gotcha moments in any of the points in this interview, you can see the frustration building in the fake news journo who's sitting there, like frustrated that he can't fluster President Trump, frustrated that when President Trump, that when he pulls out statistics about COVID, President Trump counters with like literal sheets and graphs and charts saying, look, well, here's all the numbers. How can you deny that? And he's like sticking it in the guy's face, which is great. Because that's how you really get these people's attention. You show them that you're informed and that you're more informed than they are. Because if you think that I think some nobody loser at Axios and HBO has more information about all of this than the President of the United States, you're living in fantasy land. But that's the world these people live in. The world these people live in, these fake news liars and their sycophant onlookers, is that if they lie, right? They lie so grandly that then their little audience watches it and goes, well, he must know something the president doesn't. Whereas I'm an intelligent person, you guys are intelligent, and you think, wow, the president of the United States, who has access, is the leader of the free world and has access to the greatest and best and strongest military in the world, has a million times more information than this guy. It's literally like a mental giant versus a mental whatever. So I thought that was funny when I go through it. Today also, President Trump signed a major initiative to preserve America's land. This is it's called the Great American Outdoors Act. It's done some pretty incredible things. I'll leave a link to this if you want to read through all the different things that's going to be happening, but it's pretty cool. And I'm all for that. Conserve the national forests, make sure that we have that for our kids. We're not expanding. We're not taking away people's private land. We're just securing the land that's already there, and we're, ensuring that it stays great, which I don't see anything wrong with that. Again, here, I said this on Twitter. I said it's insane how our media has become complete communist sympathizers. Could you read this story? Washington Post story. Here's the tweet. Here's what they wrote. Trump views China's Communist Party as a threat. Young Chinese see it as a ticket to a better future. Okay. Yeah. Literally, you could rewrite it and say Xi views President Trump's or U.S. democracy as a threat. young Americans see it as a ticket to a better future, right? And I'll give a shout out to Adam Townshend for that. But look, it's funny to me when you read this and you think these people, they live in a fantasy land. They figured out that they get more ratings when they say things that are controversial, right? Nobody's going to click on a tweet where they say, America's great, China's not doing well. Now, if they were sincere, they might get a few clicks on that, but they're going to get a heck of a lot more clicks when they say this bombastic thing that's just kind of a nothing sentence, but a nothing statement, but it really it exemplifies their disdain for the United States, and then their complete cowardice in calling out the Chinese Communist Party for what it is, which is a thug dictatorship of criminals, mafia-like criminals who are engaged in some of the most depraved kinds of human rights abuses. They don't want to say that though, and that's what shocks me every time I see it. And of course, Brian Stelter says, calls to eliminate Trump-Biden debates come from right-wing media tempest. And then Don Jr. over here points out, yeah, but a lot of right-wingers here, from the New York Times to CNN to Newsweek, who are all the ones really calling for them to get rid of the presidential debates because they know Joe Biden couldn't debate a sack of potatoes, more or less a clever individual like President Trump. So yeah, that's a joke. But here's another important story I wanted to cover quickly that talks about anonymous leftist operatives in Washington state are writing Florida residents to tell them to vote by mail. Think about that. They're attacking Florida because it's one of the most key swing states there's going to be in this election. It's going to come down to Florida and a few other states that decide whether President Trump, I believe, will remain. Now, I'm hoping it's going to be a landslide and it won't come down to that. But with the way that we've seen the Democrats are planning to brazenly try to steal this election through mail-in voting fraud and through using their fake news allies to misreport the election results or to postpone the election results being called, then it becomes quite obvious that this is a part of a very strategic tactic they are doing to attack our U.S. election system. And we should not stand for it. We should all be hunting these operatives down, and we should be applying whatever laws apply to their operations as far as the illegality of them. So I just thought that was interesting. Ted Cruz and other senators on Capitol Hill today talking with various different witnesses about the Antifa's role in the riots and the violence that's happening across our country. I watched a little bit of it. I watched some highlights. There wasn't a whole lot of there other than Senator Cruz said that, a few things, and Andy Ngo was probably the best one there. I'll leave a link to this if you want to watch a portion of his testimony. But it's so powerful, right, when you hear the words that he says, because he's there on the ground and he sees it firsthand and he's trying to get us the information. So finally, AOC says, Representative Ilhan Omar facing tough primary challenge because she's darn effective. Yeah, not so much. More overly probably because she hates this country and she literally seems to have possibly lied to enter our country and lied about her marriage with her brother, and now she's married to somebody who she wasn't originally married to, who she's funneling all this money to. So the only thing I can say is these people, we're going to expose every single one of them, no matter how long it takes. So you can take solace in that, I guess. But that's where we're going to go ahead and leave it. A few more things before we go. Remember to watch these videos, share them, leave your thoughts, theories, and insights below. I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say about everything we talked about. I'm also over here on Twitter at JustinFormU, for now, at least until they suspend me again. Also at informed_news. Plus, you can find me on Parlor at JustinFormedTalk. BitChute.com/JustinFormedTalk is the backup channel. JustinFormedNews.com is the official website for Just Informed Talk. And if you want to make a contribution to this channel, I have a Patreon. It's a monthly donation. You set it and forget it, and you're helping create content on this channel because they've done their best to put this channel in business. But by God's grace and by your support, I have been able to keep going nonstop. So thank you so much. If you want to consider giving, you can check this out. I'll leave a link to it in the description below. I also have a GoFundMe set up. If you want to make a one-time or anonymous donation, links to everything will be in the description below this video. Now, before we go, we do a segment at the end of this of every episode called God's Grace is Greater, where we talk about God's grace and how it is truly greater. And again, like I said at the beginning, we're going to do this beautiful prayer for spiritual insight. And I want to share this with you. It's out of the book of Ephesians chapter 1 verse 17 through 19. And I'm going to share these words with you in the name of our Father above and Jesus Christ, his Son, and the Holy Spirit. It says, I pray that the God of our Lord Jesus Christ, the glorious Father, would give you a spirit of wisdom and revelation in the knowledge of him. I pray that the eyes of your heart may be enlightened so that you may know what is the hope of his calling, what are the glorious riches of his inheritance among the saints, and what is the immeasurable greatness of his power to us who believe, according to the working of his vast strength. Amen. And there you go, guys. I hope that prayer strengthens you. I hope it leads you to find God's calling for you and embrace it and become lights in the world and help others and do the opposite of what these people who are such detractors do, and make your community better, help your family, help your friends, be kind, be strong in your faith in Jesus, and he will take care of you, and do the right thing even when no one's looking. If you do all of those things, you'll be just fine. So take that, share that with your family, friends, and loved ones, and I'm so thankful for each and every one of you. Your prayers, you're so powerful in your spiritual prayers for me and my family. I know that I have family members who can feel it, and they know it's like indirectly, but they feel it when you pray, and you guys are so much stronger. And so I just want to share that prayer for you guys out there, for all of us. So God bless you all, and that's where I'm going to go ahead and leave it. A few more things: hit that subscribe button and hit the like button if you guys like this content and want to see me make more. That's it for me, though. Thanks for watching Just Informed Talk. Godspeed, and God bless each and every one of you, Patriots.